Can I build a 4x4 house in Bloxburg? Honestly, the real question is if it's possible with my rusty skill level of building, because it's been quite a while to say the least. How has time flown by so fast? Can anyone believe the school year is already getting out? I swear I was just taking my midterm exams a few weeks ago, and now the school year is already letting out. How did we get here so fast? I am really happy to be back though. We are so back. Alrighty, so I want to set a few ground rules for today's video. Firstly, this is pretty self-explanatory, but no building outside the 4x4 area that I have mapped out, except I low-key kind of break this rule because once I finished building the actual house inside the restraints, I did some gardening outside of the border, but I feel like it's okay because the actual house is still inside of the borders, so please don't come for me. And then I'm also attempting to make the build look as realistic as I possibly can, especially with how small of a scale the build's gonna be. I thought this would also be a fun build idea to kind of get some videos rolling out because, you know, it's pretty small, it's pretty easy, more manageable for me at least not to procrastinate. And then I feel like there's probably something else that I should mention, but I think that's about it. It's a pretty simple video. I've had a few different videos like this one that I've wanted to make for a while now, so hopefully I can get to those really soon. With all of that out of the way, I know, super boring stuff.
Just take a walk, hallelujah.
I don't even know where to leave off because it's been so incredibly long. But trust, this summer I am ready to catch back up, finally. I can't express how happy I am that high school is over. I think I could shed tears of joy right now. Don't get me wrong, it was fun and all, and I'm glad to say that I did it. There's so many people out there that always say high school is the best 4 years of your life. I really hope that is not true because I did not enjoy it that much, or at least as much as people make it out to seem. And now that I'm finally free, I can just feel a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Waking up and not having an alarm blasting in your face is just such a great feeling. Genuinely, because our school had us waking up at 5:30 just to go to school in the morning. To be done with high school is to be free, I'm not even kidding. Like little freshman me had such high hopes walking into the school doors my freshman year because our school makes it a really big deal when you're a freshman. They have all these huge orientations, they add a bunch of decorations in the hallways and around the school, and they just make the school seem like such a good and happy place. And then a few weeks later, they take away all the plants and the different decorations that they had out, and then the school just turns into the lifeless place that it usually is, unfortunately. I feel like as long as you get some good teachers though, then that kind of makes up for it. Like when a teacher lets y'all talk in class, stuff like that, and more interacts with the class and not just making it a silent box where you can't do anything. And aside from that, our school is just overly strict. Like one time we had a week where we could wear sweatpants because usually we can't wear sweatpants, and our school has these sweatpants where they have logos on them, but I never bought one because they came out I think like my junior year, and by that point I only have 2 years left, so I was like, it's fine, I can just go without them these last 2 years. But since we had a week where we could wear sweatpants, I was like, I'll just wear the sweatpants that I have from my house and not the ones with the logo on it. Like nobody's gonna be able to see that. And then of course I'm walking into the school, like I didn't even make it into the front buildings, and somehow a teacher managed to see that the small logo was missing on the top, which I don't know how, and he was like, "Oh, those aren't school sweatpants. You can't be wearing those. I'm gonna have to write you up." Like, dude, why are you playing in my face right now? Are we serious? Thankfully, there were a bunch of other people who also weren't wearing the school sweatpants. But it's kind of just like, why are we instilling fear in our students about wearing sweatpants that they didn't buy from the school? Like, guys, I'm just trying to save some money here, please. But for my freshman year, on the first day of school, my English teacher, she basically had us write like 2 small paragraphs about our first day of school and like what we hope to expect. And guys, I was way too optimistic walking into the school. The school did a really good job at setting me up. I was writing about all these things like the food, the classes, having a new environment, all that stuff. And that's putting it lightly. I was genuinely too excited. And boy, did that take a turn for the worst. And that teacher that I had for my freshman year for English, I had her again this year for my senior year, and she's super nice. Definitely one of my favorite teachers. But she gave us the papers back from our freshman year because she kept all of them, and it was just kind of funny, like going back and seeing how excited I was and how positive I was looking at it, which I mean I guess is a good thing to say. Anybody who's still going through high school right now, I pray for you, but I mean in all honesty, it's not that bad. I feel like I'm just that one odd person who wasn't really feeling it for some reason, I don't know. Just the overall vibe that kept repeating freshman year, then sophomore year, junior, senior year, I was just like, please, let me escape, let me be free. I want to get to just live my life For anybody out there who's trying to rebuild this, I would not recommend this build for doing so. I was having to use a lot of basic shapes for like the roofs and the walls and everything. Not that I think it would be too hard to replicate, but it just wouldn't really be functional. Dude, who does this guy think he is? Thinking he's a good builder or something. Wow. I'm kidding, but really this is not the build to recreate. For exhibit A, let me just show you the back and you'll understand. I was like, could I have used the basic shapes to make some windows? But then I'd have to like redo the walls instead of it being one big rectangle. So I was like, nah, nobody's gonna see the back anyway. So this is just my message to all of y'all. This video is mainly for entertainment purposes only. I mean, plus it is a 4x4 house, so I'm sure nobody's gonna be wanting to make a 4x4 house anyway. I remember a while ago when Bloxburg didn't have the transform and basic shapes and all of that, and people used to make these like 4x4 or usually 5x5 challenges, and they would be 10 times more difficult because you couldn't use any basic shapes. But as I was building this, I feel like it wasn't too incredibly difficult because the basic shapes actually do come in clutch for this, even with my limited knowledge of them, because I only use them like 4 to 5 times a year. But not this year, guys. This year is the year, trust. I started cleaning out my room recently now that I finished with school, and dude, I don't know how I haven't started a house fire or an explosion or something. I haven't moved my bed and I want to say at least 10 years, just because I move around furniture sometimes, but never my bed. It's just been in one fixed position for like years, and I finally decided today it would be the perfect time to move the bed and just see what was behind it. I moved the bed and there was just a mountain of dust. I know you are probably expecting like roaches or something, but nah, no bugs. And I have a few like extension cords back there too, so there's wires, there's like outlets going on, and they're just covered in like inches of dust. So thankfully we finally got that cleaned out, and I'm happy to report that there have been no fires or no explosions. I thought this was an interesting thing to note though, but when I'm editing back my videos, it kind of reminds me of when you have that one friend who repeats the same story to like different people in different friend groups, but then you're there each time they repeat the story. So like the first time they explain it, it's really funny, and then they kind of just keep retelling that story to different people, and you're there for all those classes and you just keep hearing it over and over and over. And that kind of reminded me of how it is whenever I'm editing the videos that I make. The first time around that I'm watching it and editing, I'm like, wait, hold up, this is actually kind of interesting, and just like seeing how it all comes together. But then the more that I keep editing and the more that I keep watching, by the time I finish the video, I'm like, okay, I'm just ready to post this and I never want to see it again because of the sheer amount of times that I've watched this video. But hopefully they're entertaining enough to you guys the first time around, because I definitely cannot say the same. For each year of high school though, I want to rank them from easiest to hardest. I feel like for me the easiest year was freshman year. I think everybody can pretty much say the same on that one. The only hard part was just finding people to talk to, I guess, and just kind of finding better ways to study. And then after that, I surprisingly would say junior year. For some reason, it just wasn't as bad compared to the other 2 years, at least in my case. The only kind of hard part was studying for the ACT, but I mean, besides that, my classes weren't too incredibly difficult, and my workload just wasn't as bad compared to sophomore and senior year. So then for the third hardest, I would honestly say sophomore year, and it's only because of this one class that I took. It was this world history honors class, and that was the class that I found out I completely suck at history, and never again did I take an honors for history. Both semesters, I think I was fighting for my life just trying to get through the class, and I think both semesters I ended up with like a 92.3, which for my first 2 years of high school, we were on a 7-point grading scale. So if you want to get an A, you have to have a 92.5 or higher, and my teacher did not round up either of my semester grades. And by that, I mean posting just one more assignment, or at least giving me a couple more points on an essay or something. But no, I think that'd just be too nice of her to do. So I basically fought for my life for absolutely nothing. And then after that, I would say my hardest year was definitely senior year, which was this year. I don't know why everyone says it's the easiest, or at least after freshman year, but for me it was definitely the hardest. I think it's only easy if you kind of take easier classes since you're going to be going into college next year. But for me, I kind of just kept on the same track of classes that I was taking with APs and stuff, having to apply for colleges, and then also taking any dual enrollment classes that are already in college. I think I pulled more all-nighters this year than I have my entire life. I was talking with some of my friends though, and it was the easiest year for them. So I think it really just boils down to like what classes you're taking and how hard they are. I think that's about it. So let's just jump right into the tour. Alright guys, here's the final build. I'd say it turned out good, especially considering it was a 4x4 build challenge. I'm really happy with the color scheme, especially because I knew I wanted to incorporate some blue and just kind of keep the colors pretty light, and I think it turned out pretty well. We can just ignore the back of the build, right guys? I also really like how the trees turned out. I wanted to add some blue into them as well, so I looked for different garden decals that had some blue flowers in it, and then I added them into the trees. And as always, I'll make sure to link all the creators from the decals that I got in the description. And do y'all know if there was a gardening update sometime recently? Because for some reason, all the trees and bushes that I originally used, at least for other builds in the past, they're all locked, so I don't really know what happened there. It might be a sign to finally upgrade my gardening level from 2 or 3. But yeah, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and the build. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.